Good evening, Facebook. Happy Friday. Um, Tonight, I just wanted to come on here and discuss about visa refusal because two of potential clients contacted me this week to ask about help for the visa refusals. One of them applied for indefinite leave to remain, and this was refused. The other one very recently also applied for renewing her domestic worker visa, and this was also refused. Now, I would say the common mistake of sending your application is not having somebody else looked at your application. So you're basically doing it yourself and not and being so confident of it being successful, but really you haven't looked at the rules. So before you send your application, at least either ask someone, either someone who may know a little bit about immigration, but that can be fatal as well. So it's best to at least pay a consultation fee for a lawyer to look at your application. You will find immigration lawyers who would look at your application for a minimum fee, an hourly rate fee. You could just go in there and say, look, I have this application. Could you please quickly look at this? And have I got the right documents? Have I got the right, am I applying at the right application form, for example? But some people will do it themselves, really confident that it will be successful. And so, for example, one of these clients had quite not complicated, but he came as a tier 2 dependent visa, and so he was married to someone who was settled here, and then he shifted it to a spouse visa. And then after that, I think he's been here seven years. He thought that he could apply for indefinite leave to remain. But sadly, that's not the case, because if you apply for a spouse visa, if you apply for indefinite leave to remain on the basis of a spouse visa, you have to have held 60 months of that category of visa. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you were married to that person for let's say 10 years, okay, but if you haven't held that visa, a spouse visa, for 30 months, the same category, which is they grant you 2.5 years every time you have this visa. Okay, but that's complicated as well, because one is 5-year route and the other one is a 10-year route. The 5-year route is when you actually came here to the UK on a spouse visa, and they've actually issued you with a spouse visa under the 5-year route. So the letter, when you receive that visa, the letter from the Home Office will give you an indication whether or not you're on a 5-year route or on a 10-year route. So mostly for 5-year route will be those who have submitted the application and complied with all the requirements. So it will be the requirements of financial requirements and English language requirements. And the fact that the spouse has not, claimed the benefits. So it's a very clear-cut compliance of the rules, and so you'll be issued with a 5-year visa. If you haven't, then you'll be on a 10-year route visa. So you'll have people coming here, overstayed and married a British citizen, and then they will be granted on a 10-year route. But because the sponsor doesn't comply with the financial requirements, or they have claimed the benefits before, and so they will be on that route. It will be 10 years. It will be 10 years because they will be. It will be on 10 years because they will be on a because they have not complied with the rules. So 10-year route before they become before they can apply for indefinite leave to remain, and so. Sorry, I just get distracted about a message appearing on my screen. So this potential client, applied for indefinite leave to remain, and it was clearly refused because he has not held the the spouse visa for 60 months. He only had it one. He only had a 2.5 years visa, so he needed to apply another 2.5 years. He needed to renew that and have the 2.5 years visa before he can apply for indefinite leave to remain. So the Home Office was right in rejecting his application. Okay, and just to think, you could have just saved yourself so much money. You pay, I don't know how much the fees on top of my head. I think it's 2,200 something for indefinite leave to remain. And you confidently submit that application thinking that you will be granted indefinite leave to remain, but clearly you haven't complied with the requirements for you to get the ILR. Okay, so that's one. The other one I feel very sorry about, because she's a domestic worker. She has had her visa, I think she's been in the UK for over 10 years, but because she couldn't pass the life in the UK test and the English language test, I don't know whether she passed the English language test but not the life in the UK test, but she couldn't apply for indefinite leave to remain. So she's having to renew her visa for so many years. And so, sorry, hi everyone, thank you for watching. What I'll do is I will go through the comments in a bit, so there's just two things I wanted to discuss, and then I will answer your questions, but leave those questions on the comments box. So this domestic worker, she applied to renew her visa, but she said that her employer has always applied on her behalf. Okay, and this time came in. All right, okay. So to continue, the domestic worker visa, domestic worker. Okay, I got lost there. Somebody called again on my phone. I'm using my phone to do this live. Okay, so her employer has always applied for her visa, but for some reason, the employer sent a contract and said that she's only working 25 hours a week, and the requirement for renewing her visa is that she works 30 hours a week. So basically works full time in a private household for her to renew her visa, and her visa her application has been refused, and there's no right of appeal. There's only administrative review, and it's very sad because she's relying on her employer, but ultimately this is her life. So I feel, and apparently the employer has volunteered to make the application for administrative review. And I said, and I advised her. I said, you have to check with the lawyer, because if he gets this wrong, then that's it. Her immigration history of, I think, over 10 years, and she can apply for indefinite leave to remain anytime, when she passes her life in the UK test and English language test. So if she doesn't get this correctly, then that will be it. She will have to leave, or she will have to make another application, maybe on the basis of private life, and it will cost her more to do that than to just get this administrative review right. And she's very reluctant, because apparently the employer has volunteered to do it, and I think this is the problem of most domestic workers, because you feel indebted, you feel you have to follow your employer, you trust your employer. I mean, I know I can empathize with you, because I know what it was like when I first came into this country. It's completely different culture. You tend to be so submissive, and not really voicing out your opinion, holding everything what you're thinking, and just letting people walk over you. I don't know. But I had this experience when I first came here. It's quite difficult to shift from being a submissive person to enforcing your right, being assertive. Okay, so I think Filipinos need training on assertiveness, definitely. So my advice is, please have someone look at your application. Don't waste money on sending your application form like 2,200 pounds, for indefinite leave to remain without actually going to a lawyer for paying 150, 200, whatever it is, but just to check your application. If you're confident about completing it, complete it by all means, but it doesn't mean that you know the rules, the specific rules that apply to your application. Because although you think, well, some people have done it before, they have done it, but you don't know their special circumstances. Not, people will say, oh yeah, this is what I did, this is what we did, and it's exactly similar to your situation, and I got my indefinite leave to remain, but what they won't mention is that something else that is completely doesn't apply to your case. So it's better that you have somebody look at it, and a legal advisor to make sure that you've got the right application, and you've got the right you apply on the right category. Okay, so let me get these questions. How about my mom? The visa refused over due of 8 days and fill up wrong by my solicitor. Can you, Julie? Julie, how about my mom visa that refused because overdue of 8 days and fill up wrong? Well, you know what? If your solicitor has made a mistake in completing the form, go back to that solicitor and ask for refund. That's what I would say. If they get it wrong, especially the wrong form, ask them for a refund. I'll ask them to redo it again on their costs. That's what I would say. If my application is refused, if I'm going away to appeal, how many percent is chances to win? Second thing, this hearing date is long, like waiting 8 months. Do you know any idea how to get a short date, like 2 months? No, there is no. Unfortunately, if you send your appeal, appeal nowadays is very rare, very rare to appeal. Okay, so when you're talking about appeal, it's only for human rights applications that's been refused. If you're talking about appeal, I'm not sure if it's really appeal that you're saying. People think that going to court is appeal. It's not. Okay, appeal is going to a first-tier tribunal. It's a tribunal. A judge would look at your application and see if the Home Office has made the right decision. That is appeal. If you have made an application on any other categories, like for example the indefinite leave to remain that a client got a refusal, and the domestic worker extension refusal, they don't have rights of appeals, but they have administrative review. So it's another branch of the Home Office will look at the application to see if that person, caseworker who looked at your application, made some kind of mistake, and whether and whether your application was correct, and they reconsider it. So that's administrative review. After administrative review, if it's still refused, then you can go for judicial review. That's these are the three options. But appeal nowadays is very rare. So when it comes to appeal, it takes a long time, unfortunately. I would say about a year. You'd be lucky to get like 6 months hearing. Okay, Tariq. So it takes a long time, and there is no way to expedite it. There's no way to say something's come up, and I need this appeal to be heard. There is no way of communicating to the court, to the tribunal, to ask to expedite things. Okay, there's no way. So it goes with the normal flow of their work caseload. The visa now for spouse is 10 years. Ma'am, how long do they give? No, not 10 years. If you overstayed, and if your sponsor, meaning your spouse, does not comply with the requirements, if you're here and you apply under the private life, but you're also married, then you go through the 10 years route. 10 years route are normal for people who have married, but they have overstayed in this country and they applied in this country, and also the sponsor has not complied with the financial requirement. They don't earn enough, or they're claiming benefits, for example. Okay, so that's 10-year route. But for those who, let's say, applied from outside the UK, they come here as a spouse, and they got married here, and so they comply. The sponsor complies with the financial requirements. Then they go through the 5-year route, and the 5-year route normally has it will show you on the letter that you receive from the Home Office. Similarly for the 10-year visa as well, you will get that. Okay. What form to fill for citizenship? Is this for naturalization? Desi, Desi, I think that's how you pronounce it. If it's for naturalization, it's form AN1. Form AN1. Okay? I think, yeah. Yes, okay, yeah, naturalization is form AN1. You can Google it. Form AN1. Let me double check if I'm correct. Form, just 1 second, just check it. Form AN. Form AN for naturalization, okay? Alright guys, that's this very quick update on refusals and tips on making sure that you don't waste money on the Home Office and get refused. Have somebody look at it, even though you have to spend another, I don't know, £100, £200 to have a look at it. Okay, I'm off because I've got a visitor and I didn't realize. That's why I had to get off earlier and open the door. Okay, and I've got, look, a tangled on my hair. So just something funny. Anyway, so have a lovely Friday evening, everyone. Bye.